Seriously,
I'm back, and I'm here to say that Bioshock 2 is my favorite game in the trilogy. I want to talk about a video game I really like this time. That's gotta be a good change, right? Since it's Bioshock 2, I'll tell you 2 lies over the course of this video, and I'll unveil them when the time is right. Bioshock 1 was really good. It might be a little dated by modern standards, but the atmosphere and the voice acting still really hold up. The vending machines are weird and unhinged. The hacking minigame where you have to connect the water pipes are an insane time capsule back to 2005. Because in a modern game, you're never tasked with connecting water pipes anymore, thank God. It might be like a Final Fantasy 14 raid where 12 players have to move pipes around to reach the end, and knowing the shit my friends tell me about Final Fantasy 14 Savage raids, it could very well like be a boss mechanic already. Bioshock Infinite was really it's really something, I guess. I should start with some weaknesses that stand out, especially since this is a 20-year-old game at this point. There is some fucking around with the sensitivity, like the main menu sensitivity is 3 times higher than normal, but once you're in the game, in the first person mode, you're fine. The audio issues are present and they're also super common. I think that they happen more often if you're in a room with water in it.
A lady's got to have some
What the fuck was that sound? Holy fuck, why was that so loud? There's a mod that fixes this issue by unrolling some patch 1.4 or something. Unfortunately, this means that this game has the Todd Howard seal of approval, where the community has to fix your game. Although I didn't actually use this audio fixing mod, so I guess Todd Howard doesn't approve, actually. This game does crash too. It crashes about 5 times in my 10 hours of gameplay, so not too frequently, but remember to press the quick save button every now and then. It tends to happen when I start combat with an enemy and also like the first time I play the game in a day. So just save after a fight, and you know, it's a bit of a consolation prize, but if you have this game downloaded on an SSD, you can open this game and load up a save in under 30 seconds. It's just a boon, definitely, when you're talking about these old games that were only ever supposed to be on a hard drive. The remastered version brings the game to, looking a bit better. It's alright, actually. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say this game looks like Baldur's Gate 3. This game is still rendered in, like, Unreal Engine 2.5 or some shit. You know, it's okay. The updated graphics are nice, but the remastered version should also fix some of these problems. The mouse sensitivity being wonky, the audio issues, the game crashing to desktop. This shit just sucks. Like, why bother if you're not gonna fix technical issues, making me go through 10-year-old game INI files or something stupid like that. The game has also a weird case of being built for console only. The UI is way bigger than it should be, and it's not bad because you're not playing like Civilization 5. The default key bindings for PC are really baffling, and you should go and swap it out when you get the chance. Specifically, swap quick save over to F5 like every other game. The game by default wants to use the function 1 to 8 keys to swap plasmids, so no, we're not doing that. I ended up using Q and E to swap your plasmids and the mouse wheel or the number keys to swap weapons. The rest is pretty much personal preference. None of these technical weaknesses of Bioshock 2 are particular deal breakers for me. I just thought I should mention these weaknesses, especially since they can be some of the first few things you notice when you play this game. I'm just worried that weird controls and weird audio can quickly turn a player off. Anyway, let's get back to the story.
This is not your daughter. Do you understand? Her name is Eleanor, and she is mine. Now, kneel, please. Remove your helmet. Now, take the pistol. Place it against your head. Fire.
The game's opening cutscene starts with you being hypnotized, your little sister being stolen, and you being forced to ventilate your own head case. 10 years later, your little sister Eleanor Lamb has jury-rigged a resurrection machine to revive you, and now you're off again to go and save your little sister from the clutches of her own mother, Sophia Lamb. I think killing the player is a great start to a game. It really gets you fired up. Fallout New Vegas did it, and that one's a classic. Cyberpunk 2077, Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire. Nobody knows what that game is, sorry. Planescape Torment, that one's a classic too. People know that game. People know that game, yeah. Any of the FromSoft games, definitely. I take that one. You play as Subject Delta, one of the first prototype Big Daddies. Before you were Subject Delta, you were Johnny Topside, a scuba diver that completed the impossible feat of diving all the way down to Rapture. You were kind of a celebrity until, unfortunately, Andrew Ryan thought you were communist and had you sent to prison. Then you were experimented on and turned to Subject Delta. Is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. That's your lore for this game. To refresh your lore in Bioshock, the Big Daddies are big scuba suit men that are programmed to protect their little sisters, who are immortal abominations that extract Adam from dead bodies. So if you intend to put yourself in the shoes of a Big Daddy, I want to draw you a diagram. In option A, I think that a player might see himself as a protector of only Eleanor Lamb. You learn this later when you learn about the creation of Subject Alphas. You are bonded to only a single little sister. You're told that your body will start shutting down if it isn't close to your little sister. Thus, you are obligated to protect Eleanor Lamb, and you aren't worried about the other little sisters or the NPCs you interact with. In option B, without the information that you could have possibly missed, a player might consider the Big Daddy a protector of all little sisters. Without thinking about it, you must do what it takes to protect them. Anyway, just to bring it back, I haven't started the game yet, but we already have a good idea of our motivations and our character. When you revive at the start of the game, you know what the rest of the game is about. It's super clear. You're going to free Eleanor Lamb and escape the sinking city of Rapture. And that's it. That's the story. There's no plot twists, no betrayals, nothing. And that's fine. Some people expected a big plot twist like in Bioshock 1. I played Bioshock 1 and I can't tell you anything about the story other than the plot twist. You see, I'm sure there's a name for this effect, but the plot twist is so important to Bioshock 1 that it overshadows anything else. I might play Bioshock 1 today and find that the story, except for the plot twist, is really, really boring and unexceptional. No hate, of course. Even if Bioshock 1's story was only fine, it would still be a game worth playing for a ton of reasons. Even without a plot twist, Bioshock 2's story is still pretty great. This is a sort of a case statement for this whole video. Bioshock 2 is an early adopter of the small genre known as Angry Dad Sims, among Bioshock Infinite, God of War 2018, and The Last of Us. And in my opinion, it stands out as the most bold, because it allows you to be an abusive father. Okay, it makes sense when you finish the video. It'll actually make sense later, okay? After the tutorial, you get a couple of cinematic walks in the new flooded feature of Bioshock 2, and then you get to Ryan's amusements. Now you get introduced to the Adam currency and the Big Daddy boss fight and the gameplay loop you'll follow for each level after this. You fight the Big Daddy, you pick up his little sister, then bring her around and play a gathering minigame, where you have to keep the splicers away from your little sister.
See the one when it's a sleep form.
Yeah, sleep form.
Sleep form.
I'm so tired, I haven't slept in 3 days. I got you to hop onto that new sleep form. Are you fucking stupid? How the fuck am I supposed to sleep to calm?
Apologies, it appears that a very important lesson has just been learned here. Is that I shouldn't try to record footage while being in a Discord call with my friends. Alright, where was I? Then you get the final choice, like in Bioshock 1. Harvest or rescue, you know the drill. Harvest for more Adam and more goodies, but it kills the little sister, or rescue the little sister and struggle along. Regardless, once you deal with all the little sisters in the area, and in Ryan's amusements there's only one, the big sister then appears to kick your shit in. Yeah, at this point in the game, this fight is a bollock and a half. I think how hard this boss fight is does cement in your mind that the big sister and her higher pitched shriek is something you should watch out for. So that was the intro. I would kind of count Ryan's Amusements as an intro as well, because you get railroaded along quite a literal amusement park. As well as Sinclair is guiding you to your next objective all the time, so there's not much freedom, and there's not much to explore as well. So Adonis Luxury Resort and Ryan's Amusements have more railroaded progression and not much exploration, but they do work to get you to grips with the rest of the game. This actually does kind of mean that the intro of Bioshock 2 is 2 hours long. That is depending if you agree with me or not. Anyway, the third level is where I think the game really begins to shine.
I remember you, monster. You stole Eleanor from me. Twisted that baby girl into a thing so sick it can't even die. And now you come swanning into my neighborhood looking for me. Wrong turn, Tin Daddy. When we hang you from a street light and you choking out your last, I want you to remember my face.
The third level is called Pauper's Drop. It's pretty great, and the areas are pretty expansive, going through diners, jazz bars, pawn shops, clinics, and all the other mainstays of like a residential area. You get to ignore the main objective and walk around and find little tidbits here and there. It's quite enjoyable and a nice change from Ryan's Amusements. Here, Sinclair helps me describe this area in short.
Old Papa's Drop, the worst neighborhood in Rapture, but it's a hell of an opportunity to raise up some affordable housing. When Atlantic Express was constructing their luxury passenger line, this place was hollowed out beneath as flop houses for the railway crew. Nobody was supposed to reside down here long term, but when you're broke in this town, you're not exactly swimming in alternatives. I don't favor spending more than an hour or so down here at a time. There ain't a side of the tracks more wrong than under 'em.
Grace Holloway is the leader and antagonist of this level. Throughout the level, she will taunt and goad you, sending splicers to kill you again and again. The whole reason this level exists is to stop you from progressing towards Sophia Lamb, and to that end, she locked down the train station. She nicknames you Tin Daddy and calls you Child Snatcher when you try to gather Adam.
Family, that monster has taken another of our babies for his own. Tin Daddy is hollow like a jail cell that needs filling, and he will never let her go unless you hunt him down.
Since Pauper's Drop is so big, it's filled with audio logs that describe Grace Holloway's life, making it so that you can actually learn her whole life story before you even get to meet her. Grace Holloway came to Rapture for the promise of a better life. She was a singer, initially singing about how the capitalists like Andrew Ryan and Sinclair would take advantage of people, then leave them to fend for themselves. In retaliation, Andrew Ryan had her blacklisted, and she found herself in Pauper's Drop. Even down here, she opens a jazz bar, singing night after night songs calling for rebellion. It is such a nice touch that Grace Holloway is the leader in Pauper's Drop. She has the intellect, the charisma, the drive to lead the community here, to inspire. She's inspiring people to come and beat your ass, and that's not quite as nice, but the point still stands. Anyway, things still get worse. When the Rapture Civil War breaks out, the economic recession hits. Nobody can afford to go to the jazz bar anymore, and it closes down. With nothing left, this is the time where Grace meets Sophia Lamb and is brought into the Rapture family. When Sophia Lamb was going to go to prison, she chooses Grace to become Eleanor's new guardian. You can even see the space she set aside for Eleanor in her own apartment. When Eleanor is kidnapped, this is another in a long line of heartbreaking misfortunes that she's had.
Empty house, only an echo to my name. Eleanor, baby, where are you? I turned my back and someone took you. It happened so quick. I'm not even a half mama to you, girl. I couldn't protect you.
Now, she was a popular figure, but fell out of the public eye. She was a guardian to Eleanor, but failed. How strange. It really is a nice piece of writing that the first NPC you have to fight is such a parallel to Subject Delta. In fact, I would easily say that Grace Holloway has more in common with Subject Delta than she does with Sophia Lamb. At the end of this level, you corner her in her room and she opens the door for you, ready to meet her death.
I know what you're here for. Go on, take it. I won't have you touching me. Dr. Lamb entrusted me to care for her child. And I tried. But baby Eleanor disappeared. And then one day, I see her walking with you, looking wrong. And when I tried to hold her, you knocked me down. Broke my jaw. So I'm ready, baby snatcher. Come on in and finish the job.
Instead, you can just take the key to the train station and leave. And why wouldn't you? All of this animosity towards you was over a single misgiving, that Subject Delta somehow kidnapped Eleanor Lamb, that you were a heartless monster. She thinks that you're a monster, and Sophia Lamb does too. So my only question for you is, are you?
You had me under a gun, yet you just walk away? No monster alive turns the other cheek. No monster does that. A thinking man does that.
The next time you get an option like this is with Stanley Poole. He's a cowardly rat of a character, intent on just staying out of the sights of Sophia Lamb. He was the one that sent Eleanor to the orphanage and flooded Dionysus Park. Not just that, he wrote the slandering article accusing Johnny Topside of being a communist. And that started this chain of events that turned you into Subject Delta. Killing him would be revenge, well earned and just.
Mother's not lying this time, Father. He really did it. To both of us.
But why would you? This doesn't really achieve anything. Stanley isn't going to live a long life in Rapture anyway. He's never going to escape, and he'll never see the sun again. It's just you and him in this small room, and he's begging for his life.
Oh, God! No. Come on, pal. The train's ready. Just let me live.
There's no one to praise you for your mercy, and no one to condemn you for killing him out of anger. Maybe he'll send you gifts to help you along, like Grace Holloway did. Maybe there's a reward for all this. Maybe not. This whole thing could just be pointless. Let's switch gears, shall we? So in Bioshock 2, you can do this. Bioshock 2 has the best gameplay of the three games, like hands down. Multiple times in my life I came back to Bioshock 2 just for the gameplay. Bioshock 2 took the criticisms of Bioshock 1 and fixed them. Now it's gonna be hard for me to talk about this because I haven't played Bioshock 1 before making this video. Whoops, but what I do remember is that there's better real-time hacking, there's dual wielding, and the research camera works in a better way. Hacking is still absolutely busted, and it only takes a few seconds now, depending on what you're hacking. For example, cameras need 1 to 2 stages, while turrets need 4 to 5. Safes hold the most loot, and they need 6 something stages. There's a lot of hacking to be done in conjunction with the hacking tool, and it helps to open up a bunch of pathways that would be closed otherwise. So it's really good that you do all this hacking, and it doesn't bring up a big overlay over your screen, and it is much quicker. The dual wielding removes a lot of awkwardness because you no longer have to swap the plasmid. It's an absolutely lovely piece of quality of life. The research camera is also easier to use. Just press the button on an enemy and then get to fighting. It's far nicer than having to take snapshots like in the first game. So I've said this before, but your gameplay loop separate of any story is fighting a big daddy, gathering Adam, and fending off the splicers. Then once you deal with all the little sisters in the area, a big sister is going to come to fight you. I really like this bit of gameplay loop. I really do enjoy the tower defense like combat. You don't just walk through the area once and then forget about it. You scan them strategically as you prepare to start this gathering minigame. If this area is open, it's gonna be a hard fight. Maybe you should pack the lightning bolt and the machine gun or the spear gun. If the enemies are gonna be funneled through a small area, bring a shotgun and the insect swarm. I would like to say that the developers did an outstanding job of adding 100 voice lines to the Little Sisters. It's pretty vital that they do, because a lot of Bioshock 2 revolves around the Little Sisters. They give a surprise scream if you get hit. They tell you if you can gather from a body with a little voice line.
We found it!
And they have voice lines for each plasmid you use in the game. If the enemies are stunned with Electro Bolt, the little sister thinks they're dancing. If the enemies are burning, she thinks they're marshmallows. If you use Decoy, she says something along the lines of "Go play with Ghost Daddy." It's really cool. They have lines about how you would always save them from the monsters, and I think it's a shame that press F to adopt didn't become as big as press F to pay respects. But you know, that's just me. If you've been rescuing the little sisters throughout the game, they're visibly happier to see you. And if you've been harvesting all of them, the little sisters are frightened of you and say that they'll be good. You fucking monster. The weapons in this game have had an overall buff in appearance. Instead of having a pistol, you get a rivet gun. Your Tommy gun from Bioshock 1 gets upgraded to a whole rotating Gatling gun. The shotgun is a double barrel. Instead of having a crossbow or a sniper, you get a whole harpoon gun like you're on a whaling vessel. Gone is a dinky wrench like you're the red side NG. You have a drill attached to your arm that spins and allows you to drill dash. If you're ever low on dopamine and high on drill fuel, just shot any splicer that has the misfortune of stepping into your line of sight and then hit him with a drill dash. Being hit by a train must feel fucking terrible, but being the train is fucking amazing. They can't be all home runs though. The rivet gun is okay. It allows you to put traps down in the early sections of the game before unlocking the electric tripwire and the proximity mines. The shotgun's kinda bad. It's a double barrel shotgun that doesn't kill splicers in 2 hits. The machine gun is really slow and kind of inaccurate. But here's where the power to the people station comes into play. There are enough weapon upgrades for all your weapons, so pick your favorite, upgrade them to the max, and get ready to run a gauntlet with them. You need to get the 2 basic bland stat boost upgrades before unlocking the 3rd cooler upgrade. So now with the damage boost upgrade on the shotgun, 2 shots can now kill a regular splicer. Then with the magazine upgrade, you can now shoot 6 shots without reloading. And also, it's hilarious, like what the fuck is this upgrade? It adds this revolver-like loading mechanism on top of the existing double-barrel shotgun. Like what? This doesn't make any sense. You know, I said that the machine gun is slow and accurate, but with all 3 upgrades on it, it's a DPS monster. The spear gun is slow and cumbersome to use, but with all the upgrades, there's less downtime between shots and the projectiles fly a lot faster. Now, I have to go on a rant about the spear gun, okay? The introduction to it before you picked it up is that it can pin people to the wall, and when I first played this game, back in like 2014 or something, it did that. It would send splicers ragdolling and embedded them into the wall. It doesn't do that anymore. A patch of the game broke it. Sorry, the spear gun is the game's sniper, like annihilating any human enemy with a single headshot because, yeah, this shit was made to kill whales. But the first time I played this game, this weapon was so cool because it had this powerful feeling, ragdolling enemies when you kill them with it and pinning them to the wall. You know the weapon looks overkill, it feels overkill, and you feel bad for any splicer that gets hit with this. Even if the first hit doesn't kill them, the spear ammo is embedded into the body, meaning that you can retrieve it for later, and it gives it this incredibly heavy feeling. If you have the aim for it, the spear gun has it all: damage, ammo efficiency, and range. It's a fucking great gun to use, and I wish it wasn't broken by some patch in the last 10 years. The research camera is another upgrade from Bioshock 1. It's a really critical tool for progressing in a smooth manner. If you reach certain checkpoints, you can get rewards like the first game. The most common and basic reward is more damage against that given enemy. It's common and also pretty important since the game will start throwing way more of the enemies in your face. It's really important that a well-aimed headshot can dispatch a common splicer than anything else. You can even research spider splicers to the point that their organs can be used as healing kits. There's no reason for that to exist in the game, but thanks, it was really useful. Bioshock 2's gameplay is the same as the first, being an FPS, but the player is benefited greatly from a sense of strategy. Each engagement you take, you should have an idea on how to end this engagement with the smallest time possible. Don't let the splicers move and scatter, or you're in for a world of hurt. Don't let the subject alphas and brute splicers use their dash to close the distance. You have to start a fight with a very clear idea on how to end it. It's important to know what stuns what. A swarm of bees stuns any human, but doesn't phase a big daddy. The incendiary rounds make any human enemy panic and stuns them in their tracks, but it doesn't do that much damage. You don't have to waste resources fighting turrets when you can hack them to your side. A hack camera can call a bunch of flying drones that soak up aggro. Now with the hack turrets and cameras on your side, you can add traps to your mix. Electric tripwire from the spear gun, proximity mines from the rocket launcher, and the mini turret from the hacking tool can turn any area into a death trap. All of this just to even the odds against the big sister or make your life easier against the wave of splicers in the gathering minigame. The mini turret unloads round into round while you're gathering Adam. This little thing has like a hilarious amount of mileage, and watching this go is such a damn pleasure. So how many goons are coming out of here? The electric tripwire stuns a single enemy but crosses a large area. Dropping this just as a big sister is coming allows you to hold her still while you slam some spears into her head. The proximity mines proximately. It's kaboom, man. You can't complain about that. And don't worry if you're not a good shot. If you haven't been skipping on the exploration, you get plenty of loot and money to buy more ammo, healing, Eve hypos, and traps. At about halfway through the game, I was always running around with a full wallet and skipping good ammo types just because I was full already. The enemy pacing in this game is incredible, by the way. I would say that no enemy is overused in a way that gets annoying. Even the great new boss, the big sister, is only fought about 6 times in this game. The first time you fight her in Ryan's Amusements, she kicks your shit in, making each time you pick up a new plasmid or a new upgrade, you want to see how it will work against the big sister. The brute splicers are a big bullet sponge, making them a long drawn out fight when they're introduced. But the great thing is that they arrive in Pauper's Drop and they're in Siren's Alley. Then they disappear in the next 2 levels. Then they reappear in an elite variant in the last area of the game, in a Persephone. While the brute splicers are gone, you're introduced to Houdini splicers who can teleport and fire incinerate plasmids from their hands. After that, you meet Subject Alphas, made after Subject Delta. They're armed with the same thing that you have: shotguns, Gatling guns, rocket launchers, and they have this dash that stun locks you into a headbutt animation. Once you reach the last level of this game, these are all you'll be fighting. Gone are the thuggish splicers and the leadhead splicers. It's Houdini, spiders, elite brutes, and Subject Alphas all the way down. It's great, you're stronger than ever. 4 of your weapons could be maxed out. Your plasmids can be leveled into their final form, turning Incinerate into a flamethrower and Electro Bolt into Chain Lightning. Gene tonics are pretty great in this game. You get up to 18 slots for becoming better at hacking, combat, looting. It's not just random buffs though. One of the gene tonics you can find limits you to only plasmids and the drill, allowing you to roleplay as a signature bouncer. The Gene Tonic Handyman allows you to repair your hacked bots and turrets and also assigns them a random name. You can get Herbert and Alex and Chris or whatever on your side. It's a nice bit of flavor. The Gene Tonic Fountain of Youth allows you to recover health and mana by taking a shower. So despite this game coming out a year before Twitch was an online streaming platform, it teaches you how to counter viewers of Asmongold. It's not all gold stars and handshakes all around. I've got a little bit of criticism. One thing I wish there was more of was in the exploring section. You can shock door levers so that it opens the doors, hack a nearby console, use Incinerate on ice to unlock new paths. But you also use your drill dash to clear rubble, but you only do this once in the game, as part of the story. I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity to not use the drill dash to clear more rubble-filled hallways, or maybe even freeze burning trash to clear a path. One thing I gotta mention is that there's almost no spooky horror sections anymore. In fact, it almost feels like you're just getting pranked most of the time. There is one section though that really scared me. I'll leave it in. This is nothing more than 5 minutes of game time, but please listen to any audio log from a guy named Mark Meltzer. It's just perk your ears up, alright? The conclusion of the story with Mark hits like a truck. The part that is so good though, it's made so that Subject Delta can actually influence the ending. Just play the game. If you can't tell, I really want people to play this game. I like the small details in the game, such as when the leadhead splicers try to throw a bomb at you. You can stun them so the bomb drops at their feet and kills them instead. I like that when Eleanor calls you, it places this flashbang JPEG covering on your screen. I like the stupid option in the game to add a JPEG overlay to your screen to make it look like you have a helmet on. It's really ugly, don't turn it on. I like the visual effect when you walk through water and it pours on your head and you see the water go past the front of your helmet and the audio goes whoosh whoosh like you're in a shower. I like the part early on in the game when you see a Big Daddy repair leaks using his rivet gun. That was actually, their initial purpose, to expedite work on building Rapture. I like that over the speakers you can just get trash talked for free. Like, sometimes it's super funny how they exaggerate.
The Tin Daddy is not a man. It is half dog and half devil, made by Andrew Ryan to condemn our children to a walking death.
Like, bro, I don't know who you are. Like, don't call me a half dog and a half devil. Like, please leave me alone. I like telekinesis, picking up a gas can and throwing it at a splicer. I like the dead cat models that they are in this game for some reason. There are no living cats that I've seen. It's just only the dead cats. Unfortunate. I like that there are audio logs that belong to Andrew Ryan and Fontaine/Atlas, two characters that are dead in this game, but their additions are not fan service. Instead, they enrich Bioshock 1 and make the world of Bioshock 2 feel much larger. It makes the reveals in Bioshock 1 feel as if they took time and was a process instead of being revealed retroactively.
Every time Ryan turns up the heat, I know I'm a little bit closer to beating him at his own game. But now the game's changing. Ryan's boys are coming in heavy, looking to knock down my door and take what's mine. Like this is the first time I had to dodge a bullet. They're coming to my house expecting a show, but they're gonna get a disappearing act. Say goodbye to Fontaine, and hello to Atlas.
All of these are important events in Rapture, and they also help make Bioshock 2's world feel a lot bigger than it is, where it doesn't just revolve around Subject Delta and Sophia Lamb. In Popper's Drop, you can find two audio logs where Sinclair thinks he's scamming one of his tenants, and one of his tenants think they're scamming Sinclair by assembling hypodermic needles for him. They're both proud that they're scamming each other. This is the legacy of Rapture, of Andrew Ryan. And in the ruins, a new villain has risen.
Subject Delta, I want you to commit this moment to memory for me. This howling, brutish slog through the dark. This is who we are.
Sophia Lamb came to Rapture with a personal invite from Andrew Ryan. Presumably, somebody kept coming to his office telling him that, sir, depression rates are skyrocketing and doctors are saying it's because of the lack of the sun. And Andrew Ryan, not hearing the second part of that sentence, called the psychiatrist for a vitamin D deficiency. I mean, this really is clear post-mortem, but Andrew Ryan is just a stupid motherfucker, isn't he? I mean, I know this goes against his free market ideology and shit, but if he just subsidized vitamin D gummies, Bioshock 2 wouldn't have ever happened. Also, we both know that Andrew Ryan doesn't believe in depression, right? He probably said, "They want therapy? What are they, gay?" I'm sorry. Sophia Lamb actually did her job fine, preaching altruism. She had free counseling sessions to all the people of Rapture, especially for the poor people like in Popper's Drop. I'm not sure if she was always planning to create the Rapture family or if she had a turning point, but if she did have a turning point, it was the protagonist of Bioshock 1, Jack. She was fascinated that Jack didn't have a shred of free will but could still follow orders intelligently, completing tasks with the "would you kindly" phrase. Here, her plan would be hatched. It's to pump all the city's Adam, the city's best and brightest, into her daughter, Eleanor Lamb. This would allow her to have all the intelligence to know what is good for all and also become extremely competent. While all the personalities and lives of Rapture are inside her, she would lose her sense of self. Thus, Sophia Lamb's perfect creature is born, and the perfect creature will bring about utopia. I'll be honest, I can't tell you exactly how all of collectivism and objectivism works. It doesn't really help that I played this game when I was like 15 or something. Like, I really didn't care what Sophia Lamb was yapping on about. But I assure you, I can give you the rundown on what she believes in. You know, if you've ever done good, not because it's the right thing to do, but because it makes you look good to the people around you, you kind of understand what Sophia Lamb is trying to say. Sometimes we do good just because it benefits us to look good.
And yet, alone, each man is a prisoner to bias, dream, delusion, or the pain of a phantom limb. To one man, they are as real as rain. Reality is consensus, and the people are losing faith. Take a walk, Andrew. It is raining in Rapture, and you have simply chosen not to notice.
She rejects the objective reality that Andrew Ryan believes in and believes that each person has their own world, colored by their own experiences and memories. Thus, all people are slaves to their egos and biases. Sophia Lamb has taken this and extrapolated it to the extreme. She thinks that no good done from free will can be truly good, done selflessly. She watched as Rapture was steeped in vice and greed, in the endless rat race of capitalism under Andrew Ryan. She watched it rot from the inside. When she says that she wants to create a commune, a place where no one is abandoned, I kind of believe her. I believe that she really hates the individualistic approach brought about by Andrew Ryan. She does believe in the common good. She's a pure utilitarian, and her ultimate goal is to bring about a utopia on Earth, a veritable paradise. Before we go on, I do have some good things to say about her. She is extremely charismatic. It's sort of disarming how charismatic she is. I think that there's a lot of reason to hate her, but I kept finding myself nodding along to what she was saying. For example, in Bioshock 1, the Civil War, the unregulated splicing, and the Little Sisters are all because of Andrew Ryan being so fanatical in his beliefs that he is willing to let it slide. From the splicers we see in Bioshock 1, we know that Andrew Ryan is an unsympathetic piece of shit, uncaring about the fate of his citizens. In Bioshock Infinite, Colombia is a land that is systemically racist. I mean, the fucking KKK show up. So that means, before we ever meet Comstock, we know that he's a racist piece of shit. In Bioshock 2, Sophia Lamb has inherited the splicers that survived until this point, giving them a place to belong to. She has inherited a Rapture that has never recovered from a civil war. She was never a politician that got herself voted into power. She's a psychiatrist. What this means is that I can keep giving Sophia Lamb the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she is what she says. Maybe she is a caring figure for the people of Rapture. And of course, she is written so well. She is voice acted so incredibly. Every word, every sentence she says is said with a certain thoughtfulness, with a measured grace. Even when she is angry, her manner of speaking doesn't show it. When she's talking to other people, she's always careful in her speech. When she records her own audio logs for herself, she also seems to be performing. She never lets this mask slip. In Disco Elysium, rhetoric is a skill that determines how good you are at breaking down people's sentences to read what people are really saying. And what I'm trying to say is that I think I have the lowest rhetoric score possible. The truth is that Sophia Lamb is always hiding something, always trying to manipulate you, but I just can't detect it. Even though she's the villain of Bioshock 2, even after all the terrible things she's done, even after making you kill yourself at the start of the game, I still want to like her. This is her charm, her greatest weapon.
For Grace, the paradise of Andrew Ryan was most unkind. She spoke against him in song, and he had her blacklisted. It left her penniless. But in the family, she has found hope, a reason to draw breath. Ask yourself, Delta, do you deserve to take it from her?
Her weaknesses are plenty though, don't worry. Her ideology is completely opposite to Andrew Ryan. Where Andrew Ryan was a fanatic, Sophia Lamb actually fails to follow her own ideals. She is cruel, manipulative, and egotistical. She laments the self, the ego, but she doesn't do anything to curb her worst intentions. I'll show you the opening cutscene again.
This is not your daughter. Do you understand? Her name is Eleanor, and she is mine. Now, kneel, please.
First thing is, yeah, obviously, she's making you kill yourself. But listen to what she says. She is mine. She doesn't consider Eleanor, her own daughter, to be a person with wants or needs. Eleanor is hers, and Sophia is free to do whatever she wants with her. Her cruelty is plenty on display, from stealing children from the surface to make into little sisters, to shooting down any submarines that try to escape Rapture. Sophia Lamb is cruel. Sophia is a pure utilitarian, and she's trying to create a heaven on Earth. And what that means is that any suffering she inflicts is just par for the course. I've told you the story of Grace Holloway, but Sophia manipulates her twice. The first one is that she finds Grace at the lowest point of her life, in Pauper's Drop, when her jazz bar closes down. Then she brings her into the Rapture family. The second is that she knows that Grace wants children, but is unfortunately infertile. When Sophia Lamb is being sent to prison, she lets Grace become Eleanor's guardian.
And
know it's wrong to feel so fine right now, but I can't seem to quit this grin. Dr. Lamb came to tell me that Ryan's finally gonna lock her up. It's gonna gut the believers, and I should feel the same. But Sophia remembered that I was barren, and she asked me to take care of her baby while she's gone. Baby Eleanor Lamb. Gorgeous, clever little girl. I have a child now, and it's gonna put the whole world all right.
Eleanor becomes a tool to buy Grace's loyalty, and Grace is brought out by being given the one thing that she wants the most. And sure, I think Eleanor and Grace have a positive relationship with one another, but that's just a happy coincidence. As for the practical aspect, once you reach Fontaine Futuristics, the villain of the area is Alex the Great, formerly a Gilbert Alexander. Sophia has already carried out her plan, and the test subject was Gilbert Alexander. So what became of him? Genetic damage beyond anything we've seen in this game. His body is an unseen mess inside a pressurized tank. It's hidden inside swirling red Adam, and we never see his shape. So why does Sophia Lamb intend to do this to Eleanor? Because during her time as a little sister, Eleanor became immune to genetic damage caused by Adam. This might be part of Sophia's plan. Instead of Eleanor losing herself, it is destroyed, torn apart under the weight of lifetimes of knowledge that will be pumped into her. If this is her plan, and she does this to her own daughter, it's just another instance of Sophia's unflinching cruelty.
I designed that device, Delta. You fumble at it like an amorous baboon!
I want you to know the personality that replaces Gilbert Alexander. It's a megalomaniac, the worst boss you've ever had, and that's because the best and the brightest of Rapture have always been the most egomaniacal fuckers the surface kicked out. That's it, Rapture is the only place Sophia Lamb could ever do this, and Rapture is a monument devoted to ego. And even if her plan succeeds, there's a few moments in this game that she praises Jack from Bioshock 1. I can't prove it, but if her plans actually worked and Eleanor becomes the first Utopian, Eleanor would be commanded by Sophia Lamb herself. The core of Sophia Lamb is right. Her ego has poisoned herself. Yes, bringing about Utopia is fantastic, but it's just that Sophia Lamb has to be the one to do it. No one else can. Her ego is the one that excuses her from not following her own ideology. It's a wonderful way that she actually foils herself.
In ethical psychiatry, we must account for...
Eleanor Lamb speaking. Mum says I'm not to play with the other children because they're being raised on a diet of dog-eat-dog. I wanted to see these dog-eaters, so I waited until Mum was gone and went out to find one. And guess what? The dog-eaters wear human skins. It makes them look just like us.
In conclusion, I think Sophia Lamb is well written and incredible, and I think she's a worthy continuation to Andrew Ryan. I'm going to breeze through the next few areas, namely I'll just say their strengths and weaknesses. Simon's Alley is the game's commercial zone, after Pauper's Drop being the residential zone. It does have an apartment, but it's also filled with storefronts and stalls, a grocery store and a bar. It's great and big, and you do a ton of walking around. The main quest is pretty lackluster though. You fight a pair of twins, Daniel and Simon Wales. When you reach the area, they've already split off, one becoming a father and a preacher to the Ratchet family, and the other slumming it in a nearby neighborhood, becoming a pimp. Gross. There's less audio logs to listen to, they talk less than Grace Holloway, and the game doesn't really try to do the same thing they did with Grace Holloway. I mean, she got like 8 something audio logs at least, and I'm pretty sure that between these two twins, they got like 3 or 4. It's just not there. There's no meat on these bones. Just enjoy exploring the level. Dionysus Park is by far the weakest area in the game, for the main reason is that there's no main quest. Dionysus Park really sort of renegades on the deal that Pauper's Drop gave us. Now, without it, it sort of feels like a scam where you're getting 50% less game per game. The exploration is decent, though the level is pretty fucking gross. In a game about a city under the sea, you've gotten even wetter. It's just unpleasant, really. And the area is pretty cool, walking through this formerly luxurious art gallery, complete with a theater and wine tasting, and there's a carousel. Okay, like predominantly the area is filled with art gallery stuff. I don't know any other words for this. The art gallery is filled with a bunch of art gallery stuff. I'm sorry, I don't know what else to say. The villain of this area is Stanley Poole, who's great actually. He's just a dog. It's sort of cool on a metatextual level. Stanley Poole has done a massive amount of crimes. First, double-crossing Sophia Lamb for Andrew Ryan, getting her sent to prison. Second, Sophia Lamb was unaware of the sabotage and still appointed Stanley as the leader of Dionysus Park while she was away. He then squandered all her money. Third, he then kidnapped Eleanor Lamb to the orphanage where she was turned into a little sister because Eleanor was threatening to tell everyone what Stanley was doing. Fourth, he flooded Dionysus Park, killing all of the guests because he heard Sophia Lamb was out of prison and was afraid that she would come back, so he killed everyone to make sure that they couldn't tell on him. Fifth, he wrote an article that slandered Johnny Topside, you as a communist spy, landing you in Persephone. What a fucking guy. I mean, he really is the archetype liar coward combo, doing the dirty work for a hefty paycheck. In this case, he kept landing himself into bigger and bigger trouble, having to make more and more audacious lies just to cover his ass. And since he was the one that kidnapped Eleanor and not Subject Delta, you actually meet the guy that Grace Holloway should have been angry at all the way back in Pauper's Drop. It's pretty incredible how this guy ruined the lives of Eleanor, Subject Delta, Sophia Lamb, Grace Holloway, all at the same time. I might be missing someone else here, but damn, what a resume, man. So when you arrive at Dionysus Park, this area has stopped being flooded because Subject Delta drained it from Siren's Alley. All you have to do is harvest or rescue the 3 little sisters in the area, and then Stanley Poole will let you leave. This level only exists because Stanley Poole is still trying to cover his ass. Wait a minute. It is interesting on a metatextual level. The level is bad because the person in charge is Stanley Poole. He's not a creative person and charismatic leader like Grace Holloway was. He's a fucking donkey, and the level is ass. Incredible. It's absolutely incredible. The 7th crime that Stanley has done is making you, the player, play through a shit level. I wasn't planning on writing so much about Dionysus Park, but actually, I just kind of got carried away. Anyway, on to Fontaine Futuristics. Fontaine Futuristics is split into 2 small levels rather than one big expansive level, and it really kind of suffers for this. There'll always be a big daddy in the main room instead of in the offshoot side room somewhere, which is really annoying. There are a lot of audio logs that describe the process of creating the big daddies, and that's super cool. It's cool lore. But the smallness of the 2 areas means that you have to be careful not to walk into an invisible border where a character will radio in and cancel whatever audio log you were listening to. Generally, the rest of the game is pretty good at this, where you can listen to the audio log while also snooping around for loot. But not in this level. You can very easily be interrupted and have to listen to the audio log from the start. A positive note, Alex the Great as a villain is absolutely fantastic, and it's just damn entertaining.
My likeness is company property, Delta, just like you are. Don't make me strip you for parts, Millardo!
I warned you. When you're down without life's a pain, weatherman says heavy rain. Is all you need. Average show to Hercules. Stronger on the sharper brain, that's why the future is Fontaine.
Access denied. Please speak clearly. Automatic deactivation for 60 seconds.
Oh, he's jamming the voice print lock with that awful crooning.
Oh man, I really do love Alex the Great, and Sinclair's southern drawl is just incredible to me. Who up jamming the voice print lock with their awful crooning, bro? Post it in the comments. Who up crooning awfully? On to the last level of Bioshock 2, Persephone.
Persephone, we're finally here. Find Eleanor, son, and fast. Her mama's got all Rapture dying to keep you 2 apart.
In the last level of this game, the secret prison Persephone, you're finally reunited with Eleanor Lamb. You finally get the chance to spend more time with your little sister, the one you've been hunting for this entire game. Once you finally see Eleanor Lamb, Sophia Lamb is near, still trying to stop Subject Delta. Here is what I would really consider the final boss fight of this game. Here, Sophia Lamb summons 2 big sisters to fight you at the same time. If you thought you were doing well, the game is very happy to put you back in your place.
Eleanor, forgive me.
Sophia Lamb smothers Eleanor in her bed, subjecting you to the same thing that the Subject Alphas have gone through, the breaking of the single father pair bond. Subject Delta immediately goes into a coma. Here, Eleanor Lamb is still alive, but she's weak, and so she sends a little sister to drink your Adam, which shifts your consciousness into the little sister. Here is an incredible scene, one from the perspective of a little sister. Nobody really asked for this, and nobody ever said anything about wanting this, but it's here, and it's incredible. The dreary, wet, ruined world of Rapture is gone, changed to clean whites and luxurious reds, the scene of a high-class party. The burning trash fires are fireplaces, the bloodstains are petals, the bodies that you harvest Adam from are chalked up as angels. At the start of the scene, you get to see how the little sisters see Subject Delta. Gone are the rusty metals and brown leather. They see you dressed in white and gold, a knight in shining armor. There's so much going on in this one scene. There are moments where you get a glimpse of the reality hidden underneath. There are statues where the game shows you how you interacted with the three antagonists throughout the game. The big sister suit looks like a beautiful dress, rather than an unflattering lump. The splicers seem to be talking, but when you walk up to them, they're dead silent. Audio logs from Sophia and Eleanor Lamb can be found sprinkled around, as well as Eleanor finally getting the chance to talk to us directly. The story purpose of this scene is that you gather the big sister suit for Eleanor Lamb, so she can recover after being smothered. Once she's in the big sister suit, she can free Subject Delta and stop his body from shutting down. Now the level of Persephone begins in earnest, and Eleanor is your companion. At this point, you might be hit with the realization you might have made a monster.
I survive, no matter the cost, just as you have. My new sisters trusted you, but you took what you needed and disposed of them. And I felt every one. It wasn't personal. It was the law of nature. So this, what I'm about to do, is perfectly natural. That is much better. Ready now.
Here, I'll reveal to you my first lie. When I was talking about Stanley Poole, I said that there was no point in sparing him or killing him. I said that there was nobody watching. I lied. Earlier, I said that there was no twist in Bioshock 2, but it's a lot different from the first game. I'll try to edit it together to make it more plot twist-like, but here it is.
Do you know why Eleanor brought you here? She wanted a father. So she found a way to restore you in body and mind. The girl lying on that bed is no longer my child, nor my life's work. She is a monster, shaped by you alone. Just as she has always wanted.
20 seconds remaining.
The other sisters are made from me, in part. As they grow up in Rapture, I feel it all. When you were with the little ones, they trusted you as their father, because of me. I have been watching you, Father, studying the way you have treated others, and now I know who I am.
If Eleanor is present in all the little sisters in the game, it radically changes the way you are to consider the little sisters throughout your playtime. You might have thought that you were traveling to Persephone to meet Eleanor, but she was with you the entire game, and you never realized it. This twist is foreshadowed when you consider a single piece of dialogue. The little sisters call their big daddies Mr. B or Mr. Bubbles. They've done this in the first game, but when they refer to Subject Delta, they refer to him as father or daddy. I genuinely played this game 4 times and I never noticed this. I only realized this when I watched another video. There's another piece of foreshadowing, one buried in the gameplay loop. In Bioshock 1, when you harvest or rescue a little sister, it's not your little sister, it's the Big Daddy's. You find the Big Daddy, you go for the boss fight, and then you rescue Harvest, and then you're done. In Bioshock 2, you're given the rescue Harvest choice after doing the boss fight, after pressing F to adopt, and then after you protect them twice during the Gathering minigame. The Harvest rescue choice here is now recontextualized. It's given after they become your little sister. They become a piece of the UI on your screen. They're yours. They become your little sister because they are Eleanor. Even writing this script, I can't describe to you the reason you would harvest each little sister. The game puts too much precedence on saving them because it frames you as a big daddy, a protector of the little sisters. So of course you would save them, right? Well, I think that's why it's important to have a choice, even if the choice is ultimately a bit silly. Kill a child or don't kill a child. It's stupid, right? But it's important that you make a choice, and then it's even more important that the game shows you the impact of your choice. Right here, right now, in Persephone, Eleanor Lamb and the way she acts is the result of your choices. Yes, kill or don't kill a child is one of the stupidest moral choices in gaming. Bioshock fans will really tell you to your face that this series is only for intellectuals. But the way Bioshock 2 is solely built around a single choice. The writing, the villains, Subject Delta, Eleanor Lamb, the dialogue, the gameplay loop, Little Sisters, Big Daddies are all built towards this one single choice. But guess what? There's no more little sisters to save in this game. If you listen to Sinclair and harvested your first little sister, you're on track for the bad ending already. Which is fair, yeah. The limit on child murder is exactly 1. I'm gonna go take a detour to talk about free will, and then we can get back to Persephone. Free will is one of the greatest themes of the Bioshock game. The first Bioshock had a legendary plot twist that called into question what it means to play a silent protagonist. Specifically, it highlights the player's lack of choice, their lack of free will. Everything you ever did was at the request of someone else. But the incredible part, in my opinion, is that it's the villain that tells you that. He says you are powerless, he says you are useless, he calls you a slave. And yet, you do have a choice, still. And I think that's important. I think that's genius. So, how does Bioshock 2 talk about free will when Bioshock 1 was so groundbreaking? The way that Bioshock 2 talks about free will is through the main villain, Sophia Lamb. She laments the self. She thinks that recognition of the self leads to an obsession. She thinks that people are inherently obsessed with themselves and can never do good things out of the goodness of their heart. She believes that people can never do good in a truly selfless manner. Bioshock 2 reflects on Bioshock 1, but the same way it has done everything else, through an emotional lens. Each time you rescue the little sisters and show mercy to Grace Holloway, Stanley Poole, and Gilbert Alexander, you are proving her wrong. I just realized this writing the script, but in the case of Stanley Poole, this is set up in an interesting way. Sophia Lamb will tell you that Stanley ruined your life, right before you meet him, expecting you to kill him out of anger.
You see, it was Stanley who turned you into Ryan. He is responsible for what you have become. The security booth is open now. You may have your revenge.
She's trying to play you. She's manipulating you like she manipulated so many other characters. She's trying to show Eleanor your true colors. If you're on a savior run, Sophia Lamb will still call you a monster. I told you this. I told you her failings were personal. Even when you're trying to prove her wrong, she doesn't want to listen. You're a walking contradiction to Sophia Lamb's entire ideology. You're out here living your life, doing good pretty much by accident if you want to. And Sophia Lamb is furious. When I say doing good by accident, I kind of mean it. When you rescue the little sisters, you can do so quote-unquote intelligently by saying things like, because I'm supposed to be a big daddy, I want to set an example for Eleanor Lamb. I want to save the little sisters because they were kidnapped from the surface. Or you can rescue them because it's good. Because you like doing the good moral choice in a video game. Maybe because doing good doesn't need a justification. Maybe it's just in your nature. Wait a minute. It's in your nature. If Sophia Lamb believes that free will leads to corruption, then being kept in the dark and seeing the choices that you make is a double-blind litmus test of her beliefs. Being in the dark, not knowing that Eleanor Lamb is watching your actions, not knowing anything about the horrors of the Little Sisters. But doing good, all the same, destroys Sophia Lamb's ideology. The story will always make you defeat Sophia Lamb physically, but your choices, your free will, allow you to dismantle her ideology piece by piece. Oh my god, Sophia Lamb can lose a debate to a creature that doesn't speak a word. It's incredible. I love Bioshock 2. The script right now is 10,000 words for a 10-hour game. I played Cyberpunk 2077 for 160 hours, and I had an 8,000 word script. I just didn't care. 80 hours, and I feel absolutely nothing for any of these characters. Bioshock 2, I love Sinclair. I love Eleanor. I have a kinship for this big hulking galoot called Subject Delta. I even like Grace Holloway, and she spends her whole level calling you a fucking bitch. I just love Bioshock 2. Oh my god. Where was I? You might not think much about the Harvest Rescue choice, but the devs did. You, as a player, just might say something super straightforward. I'm going to rescue the little sister because it's good. The most surface level, straightforward thinking, and it's correct. If you played the game once, you might tell yourself, oh, the game is giving me the good ending because I did the good choice. Nothing out of the regular here. But if you play the game through 4 or 5 times like I have, you might see what I'm seeing. There are layers here, and I feel crazy for seeing the game like this, where doing the obvious moral choice is simultaneously breaking down the villain's ideology, proving that the faith that Eleanor put in you is well placed, as well as becoming a father figure to Eleanor. I think it's hilarious, and I think it's stupid, and I think it's great. Here, to wrap up the subject of free will, I'll unveil my second lie. You don't play as Johnny Topside. When Eleanor Lamb resurrects you at the start of the game, she has done so after undoing the psychological conditioning of a Big Daddy. Before this, you were a Big Daddy and you protected Eleanor Lamb at the cost of your own life, but you never had a choice. I think there's something to be said in how you die in the opening cutscene. You're not shot in the head by Sophia Lamb. You would never say Subject Delta committed suicide. You are killed by Sophia Lamb, but the one pulling the trigger is Subject Delta. You commit suicide by force. It's a nice little theme. It's sort of emblematic of how without free will, the actions you do have no meaning. They have no flavor. Your sacrifice becomes meaningless. Now, at the start of the game, you finally have a choice. Finally, free will is in your hands. When I drew you the option of A and B at the start of the video, I drew you a false binary. You really are free to make your own choices.
I had thought you some golem of Sinclair's, brought here to hold Rapture's arms while he rifles through her pockets. But no, you are aware of your plight. Who, I wonder, would be so cruel to force a mirror on a man with no face?
I want to take this time to talk about Eleanor, and I think it's interesting that both Subject Delta and Eleanor have so much in common. I mean, you are father and daughter after all. You are hounded as monster the entire game, but the Rapture family looks to Eleanor as a messiah. Both titles ultimately a death sentence for both Subject Delta and Eleanor. I think the second parallel exists as a victim. I've talked at length about Subject Delta, so I'll just talk about Eleanor here. Even as a child being taken care of by Sophia Lamb, she was isolated, robbed of a regular childhood. She was trained in psychiatry and told to advance the good for all people.
In ethical psychiatry, we must account for the role of evolution. Depression, fits of panic, sexual pathos, all responses to ancient selection pressure. The irony is that this theory is why Ryan's people invited me here. They mistake my study of natural law for the worship of competition. Remember, Eleanor, one must know the beast before it can be slain.
After that, being sent to an orphanage by Stanley Poole, then being sold out to Fontaine Futuristics. Even after being cured, she still struggles.
This is Eleanor Lamb speaking. It's been many years since my last diary. Mother found a way to rehabilitate me psychologically, but she can't remove this thing inside my body. I look in the mirror, and I see a freak.
The voice actress Sarah Bolger is actually insanely good. When her voice shakes when she calls herself a freak, it just makes my heart ache. Yes, life has been cruel to both Eleanor and Subject Delta. You might honestly think, why Subject Delta? Who is Subject Delta to Eleanor? Yeah, her protector during her time as a little sister. That's obvious, right? But why has she been working for 10 years to resurrect you? Of all people, why Subject Delta?
I remember very little. Just an artificial sense of peace and a compulsive hunger for Adam. Dr. Alexander is trying to help me adjust. He's responsible for part of my condition, but he wants to make amends.
An artificial sense of peace. I think that's the kicker there. She, for a lack of a better word, enjoyed her time as a little sister, a time when she was protected by you.
This is where they bound us together, Father. Playing God. You were the only good thing that Rapture ever gave me.
Your choices are important. I'm going to give you a hint as to how this game ends. Subject Delta will always die at the end of this game. The last parallel exists as a result of your choices, the Protector or Harvester. Throughout this game, you, the player, are forced into a position of fatherhood. When Eleanor Lamb contacts you, she refers to you as Father.
Daddy was sleeping for such a long time.
When you pick up a little sister, the word the game uses is adopt. Since Johnny Topside was experimented on, turned into a prototype Big Daddy, it's also diegetic, with the player being forced into the position of protector by playing this game. But at the onset of this game, you can be the protector, or you can brush it off. When you harvest the little sisters, it is symbolic of you shrugging off this protector role that has repeatedly been forced upon you. Harvest little sisters and kill anyone that wrongs you. Show Eleanor that survival is first and everything else can be thrown into the garbage. Show her she was wrong to put her trust in you. Here in Persephone, Eleanor can accept the harvesting of little sisters, a necessary step to survival. I think that's heartbreaking. The world has broken her and you played your part in that. She's a survivor and she's going to survive you too.
I survive, no matter the cost, just as you have.
Or as a player, you get to decide to pick up that mantle of protector one more time. You can be everything Eleanor ever wanted, a trustworthy guardian and a loving father. Even if you don't know the reason you do good, it doesn't mean that the good things you do are meaningless. Eleanor finds the meaning in your actions and it makes her a better person. You can teach her the strength needed for forgiveness. You can show her what mercy looks like. You can show her that the insults others hurl on you wash away like water. You can show her how to see the strength in others. You can show her that despite everything that's been done to us, we still have the capability to do good.
I'll wake the children up. They're stronger than they know. Look, Father, I know you may not have wanted a daughter, but love is just a chemical. We give it meaning by choice. I am free. After everything Mother has done to me, I'm alive and sane enough to be curious about the sun. When you rescued my new sisters, I felt every one, and it gave me hope for the first time in years.
Now I can talk about the case statement of this video. Just to use another dad sim like The Last of Us, I know there's only one ending to the game, so this tells me that the player doesn't have the choice to change the character of Ellie. In Bioshock 2, in one of the earliest dad sims, the developers are bold enough to let the player be a terrible father. I think it is pretty cool how there is an outright evil Eleanor, and it's your fault. If you did play this game without ever harvesting any little sisters, which I would wager a lot of players would do, you would never see how terribly these things could turn out. You might think this game would be straightforward, with Subject Delta being a non-character, with no real impact on the story. You never see the significance of your character and your choices. Before I move on, I really don't know where else to put this, but I really do like Subject Delta. It might be a weird thing to say, but I think there's a strength in the fact that Jack from Bioshock 1 never speaks, and Subject Delta is a faceless man in a suit. Their lack of description serves to make you feel like them rather than alienating the player. In a classic RPG experience, you would go through a rigorous character creation, and that player character is you. In Bioshock 2, you can fill Subject Delta with the same personality traits that you have. So playing through Bioshock 2, I really do feel that this Subject Delta guy, he's literally me. Now, after the little sister sequence and going through the loading screen, you get pooped out onto the final level, Inner Persephone. It might be surprising for me to say that at this 11th hour, there's a big, just absolutely fantastic level here. You have to go around and rescue the remaining little sisters and escape on the submarine. You might have wanted to finish the game really quickly, but you have another 45 something minutes of snooping around for loot and audio logs here, including this one.
Now, one of the girls managed to dart past the nurse today and throw herself over the railing in the lobby. Not certain if she was trying to end her own life or merely escape. But either way, her legs had healed by the time I managed to get down to the first floor where she lay. Now, without proper setting, the rapid healing process had fused her bones back together at odd angles. We had to re-break and set them almost a dozen times, each due to the small window of viability. Now, those children may be immortal, but I can verify they feel pain. Advising Dr. Lamb on higher doses of sedatives to keep this from happening again.
This audio log is about how the regeneration and the so-called immortality of the little sisters is not a great thing. Yeah, the idea of having to re-break the legs of a little sister multiple times is kind of making me nauseous, actually. At this point, the gameplay actually becomes really easy. This is one of the reasons I would say that the fight with the two big sisters is kind of the final boss fight. Before this, Eleanor gives you a plasmid to summon her to the fight. Now, as a big sister in the suit, she's so fucking strong, it's crazy. If you want to keep the gameplay as it has been for the entire game, don't summon her. But the fights here in Inner Persephone are pretty damn nasty. The Subject Alphas are here in full force, brandishing upgraded shotguns, rocket launchers, and rivet guns, sometimes 2 or 3 of them at once. The Brute Splicers are back from Pauper's Drop, except that they're elites now, and they are still as tanky as they were before. There's definitely more combat per square meter in this level compared to previous levels, which gives this hectic, Doom-like run-and-gun feeling, especially now you're super strong with Eleanor by your side. It's a weird and welcome change of pace. And like all of your allies, she can friendly fire you, and I'm pretty sure one of her drill dashes were designed to auto-execute splicers. But if you happen to be standing in front of her when she does it, she puts you on 1 health instantly, which is really funny when you think about it narratively. It's like, Eleanor, what the fuck, man? I came all this way for you, and now you nearly killed me. But also, summoning her lets you hear some of her combat quotes, and I think the one that really stands out to me is when she's on the savior path, and she'll say this line.
This one died alone and afraid. Stand in our way, and you'll get the same.
While at first glance, it sounds like a weird threat. It's a threat that's not very threatening. But when you think about it, she's just trying to scare off the other splicers. She doesn't enjoy this violence, and she wants to avoid killing people when she can. It's a great piece of characterization. For the level of Inner Persephone, Sinclair is missing, and in his place is Eleanor Lamb. For a game about saving your surrogate daughter, you finally get an entire level to hear her thoughts, to fight alongside her, and she'll even directly tell you things in response to what Sophia Lamb says. This game really hauls ass to get you to like Eleanor. You get to hear her bite back on whatever Sophia Lamb says over the radio. She helps you fuck up some splicers after you've been fighting alone the whole game. Truly, this is the father-daughter bonding experience that we deserve. In Inner Persephone, now that we've picked up Eleanor, we can now try to escape Rapture with our lives. You're trying to use Sinclair's lifeboat to get out of Rapture before Sophia Lamb blows this whole illegal prison straight to the bottom of the ocean. You're also suffering from heart failure, but don't worry about that. You definitely won't be jump scared while walking through every corridor in this level. I mentioned that Sinclair's been missing. There's a lot happening in the little sister sequence, but one of the things you hear is that Sophia Lamb is saying that Sinclair was sighted in the facility.
Attention! Augustus Sinclair has been sighted within the facility. He will attempt to reach Subject Delta. All family duties are hereby suspended until he is found.
He's trying to save Subject Delta. Physically, the guy that's pretty much done the equivalent of staying in the car the whole game has taken it upon himself to save you. Just remember that when I tell you what Sinclair is really about. He doesn't tell you much about what he did before, rather you have to piece his life together from audio logs. He was a successful businessman, which got him an invite over to Rapture. He has an endless amount of businesses everywhere, eager to churn a profit. This level, Persephone, is his business, a straight up extrajudicial prison where he helped Andrew Ryan hide his political prisoners. In a removed audio log, Andrew Ryan describes him as having a dirty finger in each pie and has disdain for him over that. I get it, he starts a place called the Sinclair Deluxe in Pauper's Drop just to benefit of the homeless people there. But it's also low-cost housing. Yeah, he is benefiting of the poor, but ultimately him opening it is a net good for the people there. In the Sinclair Deluxe, there's a tenant that assembles hypo needles for cheap, thinking that he's scamming Sinclair and Sinclair is scamming him. So, well, you can view it as Sinclair taking advantage of somebody, but also he's providing work to an otherwise disabled man. He does do good, even though that's not his main function. The prison Persephone and the fact that he suggests you harvest your little sister way back in Ryan's amusements proves that he doesn't have much of a moral compass. But something happened to him before the game starts. He's had a change of heart. Ultimately, near the end, he tells you why. He wants to redeem himself for your fate. He ran Persephone, and that's where Johnny Topside went when he was arrested. He rented you out to Fontaine Futuristics. His mismanagement of the prison meant that Sophia Lamb had a place to develop her cult. There's an audio log about how the wardens were being taken in by her words and ideas. All of this happened under his nose. If you killed Stanley Poole for his role in turning you into Subject Delta, Sinclair is far, far worse. It's pretty tragic, but you have to love Sinclair. His southern drawl, his constant guidance. He's the closest thing you have to a friend. There's a determination to Sinclair that you really have to respect, even if he did ruin your life. Once he's determined to redeem himself and save you and Eleanor, he does. At all costs. It's how he got captured. He sees that Sophia Lamb managed to subdue Subject Delta, and he said it's his fucking turn. What a beast.
Son, I built this place and I did rent you out to those plasmid trials up at Fontaine. And now I'm paying for it. Wish I had time to make amends. Take the lifeboat, it's all yours. Just don't leave me like this.
The next time you see him, he's been turned to another Subject Alpha, the last of the Subject Alpha line. There's a lot to hate about Sophia Lamb, and this is another one on that list. She tells you over the radio that Sinclair is part of the family, and now he's finally worth something. It's a fucking spit in the face. At this point in the game, Sophia Lamb really loathes you, and here is insult into insult into insult.
Don't you recognize Sinclair, Delta? Now he is what you should have been. One final Alpha series, ready to die for the family. As Persephone's former owner, he is the ideal man to put you back in your cage.
You don't get a choice in killing or saving Sinclair here. You're forced to flush him out and kill him. He still has his voice, and he's using it to beg for death. For your friend who's guided you throughout this game and ultimately put himself in danger for you, I think it's alright to show him this mercy.
So long, kid. Thank you.
Sinclair is dead, Father. I'm so sorry. I don't know if you were close. When you're ready, take the key.
Back to the ending. It's not far now.
I was afraid of this. Mother has bombed out the ballast compressors, Father. The lifeboat will be too heavy to launch. Unless... let me think. I think I can boil away the water and get the lifeboat to rise, but I can't generate that much heat alone. It's time to recruit the rest of Mother's little sisters. We're taking them with us. Head to the pediatric wards. I'll wake the children up. They're stronger than they know. With their help, I should be able to boil off the water and get us all out of here. Go on ahead, Father. I'll free them as quickly as I can, just as you showed me.
It's certainly humorous to me that she says to go on ahead. And if you do, you miss a pretty great scene, one that exemplifies all the points I've been trying to make. If it was your fault that you created a monster, here you've given birth to a savior. After visiting 2 pediatric wards, you have one final showdown here with waves of splicers desperately trying to stop you, as Eleanor begins to boil away the water and get to the lifeboat.
I've done it, Father. The ballast water is gone. Release the docking mechanism. The elevator to the lifeboat is flooded, Father. We have to equalize the pressure. We've done it, Father. We're launching. Get to the elevator. The bombs, Father! We're falling! Run!
Now you get a wonderful ending scene, scrambling out the elevator to see a last-ditch attempt at killing you, seeing Eleanor reach back and try to save you before realizing she can't, and teleporting herself to safety. While you're rocketing back up to the surface, you take a glimpse back at Rapture, all the lies and glamour stripped away and melted down. It's a city of the dead, a tomb for its populace. There's relief as you ascend, leaving it behind, a nightmare you can finally wake up from. As you struggle to climb to the top of the lifeboat, Eleanor speaks to you.
And then, Father, the Rapture dream was over. You taught me that evil is just a word. Under the skin, it's simple pain. For you, mercy was victory. You sacrificed, you endured, and when given the chance, you forgave. Always. Mother believed this world was irredeemable, but she was wrong, Father. We are Utopia, you and I. And in forgiving, we left the door open for her. The Rapture dream is over, but in waking, I am reborn. This world is not ready for me, yet here I am. It would be so easy to misjudge them. You are my conscience, Father, and I need you to guide me.
For all the pride Andrew Ryan has in his city and himself, he died alone. For all her talk about the common good, Sophia Lamb was still cruel and manipulative. In all their schemes, they were doomed to fail. Even if they were to succeed, it would still send Rapture spiraling into the abyss. In Bioshock 1, it is the homunculus, a half-man named Jack that survives and gets a new family. In Bioshock 2, it is the monsters that make it out of Rapture alive. It is a father and daughter, not together by choice, but forced together by fate. But when given the chance, they protected each other. It was never about the lofty ideals, it was about having a choice. And when you do good, you're one step closer to saving mankind than Andrew Ryan and Sophia Lamb ever were. If you run through Bioshock 2 once, expecting a rehash of Bioshock 1, you might think the writing is surface level, but what we get is a commentary on good and evil and how it correlates to free will. We get a depiction of fatherhood and what it means to be a protector. What else can I say? A story about a city under the ocean has a lot of depth. The heart of Bioshock 2 elevates this game heads above shoulders its peers. Bioshock 2 is a game about how love shines, even at the bottom of the ocean. That's why Bioshock 2 is my favorite Bioshock game.
Was just the beginning.
Man, that was pretty fun. I can't believe I stopped working on that video for like 2 months when I was like almost 75% done, and then I started back again, and then I got sidetracked by starting a RimWorld playthrough, and that's just really embarrassing. Anyway, it looks like my opinion isn't all that unique as well. It appears that the stocks of Bioshock Infinite have kind of steadily been going down over the years, and the stocks of Bioshock 2 have been like going up. It's like I'm getting vindicated after all these years. I mean, I really did play Bioshock 2 and I was like, it's a really cool game about fatherhood, and then I played Bioshock Infinite and I was like, it's kind of nonsense, isn't it? Anyway, maybe one day I'll even play the DLC. People say Minerva's Den is really good. I'm inclined to believe them. I'm kind of lazy, as you can imagine, after working on this Bioshock 2 video for months. Like, the last thing I want to do is play more Bioshock 2. So I'm probably just going to go back to RimWorld. Anyway, see y'all around. Thanks for watching, I guess. Special thanks to today's sponsor, my parents. Yippee! My mom turned 60 recently, everybody. Everybody say happy birthday, auntie, in the comments. Let's go. Anyway. See you next time, if I ever make another one. But it's probably either going to be Bioshock Infinite or Clair Obscure. But actually, the next thing I want to edit is the Valheim series that's been waiting for like a very long time. Sorry to my friends, but they'll have to wait a little longer because Silksong's out, guys. So you gotta go and play Silksong, right? Fuck.